Welcome to Commerce class. See, we have been discussing about insurance. In the last class, we saw what are the types of marine insurance policies. Under that, we saw ship insurance, cargo insurance, freight insurance. Then we learnt about the next type of insurance called as health insurance. Under that, we saw individual mediclaim, family floater policy, unit linked plan, and we also learnt about few terms like how are the claims being settled, either through cashless schemes or reimbursement is one of the method of settling claims. Till this we learned in the last class. Now today let us learn about what are the other types of insurance apart from whatever we saw before. The first type is under the miscellaneous insurance. The first type is motor vehicle insurance. See, motor vehicle insurance, it is nothing. It is also known as automobile insurance or auto insurance. This doesn't come under life insurance. It comes under the general insurance category, where every motor vehicle, in motor insurance, the owner's liability, to compensate. Suppose if a person is being killed in the road accident, okay, the compensation of giving what is it the giving money as a compensation will be passed to the insurance company when motor vehicle insurance is being taken. Suppose if any road accident happens and if the motor vehicle has been insured, okay, there will be certain terms and conditions. How many people, whether the driver plus one or two people, okay, according to the terms and conditions as how it is being agreed upon, or driver plus three people. So insurance claim can be made, or the burden of paying the compensation will be passed on to the insurance company in case of motor vehicle. Suppose in case if any accident occurs, and this policy could be taken by individuals, okay, at the payment of a standard amount of premium. The rate of premium is for this policy, motor policy, is standardized irrespective of the age of the person. Next is burglary insurance. This policy, it comes under the category of insurance of properties. If any loss or damage is happening because of theft, burglary, house breaking, or larceny, means theft of personal property. You call it as larceny. So if anything happens to personal property, or burglary is breaking the house and burglaring the properties, the compensation will be paid by the insurance company if the insured has taken insurance against the properties. Here, the insurable interest, it need not exist at the time of taking the policy. At the time of loss, when loss is happening, the person who has taken the policy should have that insurable interest. Insurable interest means he should have, it should be his own property. It should be his own property. He should not take insurance policy on his neighbor's property and do a damage to it and then claim for it. So, insurable interest should exist at the time of claiming when any theft has happened. Next is, it also should comply with the next principle of insurance, that is causa proxima. That is the reason for the theft or burglary should be related only to the proximate cause which falls under the policy. The policy might have listed out few reasons, and the reason because of which the theft or burglary or larceny has happened, it should fall under the proximate reason and specified under the policy. So these are the two criteria under the burglary insurance. Next is cattle insurance. Cattle insurance, it is again a bond which is being taken by the owner of the cattle on paying a certain amount of premium year after year. The in case if in case of any events like death of the animals can be bulls, buffaloes, cows, or heifers also, or if any accident happens to these animals, or any disease occurs and the animals dies because of that, or if the animal dies during the pregnant conditions or during the delivery conditions, during such time, if any death occurs to the cattle, then the insurance company will compensate the loss, which is compensate with the money which has been insured, the policy amount for which the money has insured has taken the policy. And there is one word called as heifers. It is a new word for us. Bulls, buffaloes, cows, and heifers. Heifers, it is a cow only. A cow which has not given birth to a calf, you call it as heifer. In Tamil, you call it as kidari. The next type of insurance is, just a second children, the screen went somewhere. The next type of insurance is crop insurance. Under the crop insurance, the policy is to provide financial support to the farmers. Suppose if any loss or damage happens to the crops because of either failure of monsoon, it could be, or because of flood, if any loss happens to the farmers, all these losses are being covered during the production of rice, millets, or oil seeds or pulses. It can be anything, any agricultural commodity. If the farmer suffers loss because of these reasons, then the insurance company gives a compensation based on the amount of money that has been taken as insurance against these crops. Next is sports insurance. See, this policy, it is a comprehensive cover. Comprehensive cover means bringing so many people under a coverage. You call it as comprehensive cover. Normally this happens, this policy could be taken only for amateur sportsmen, that is not professionally qualified sports people who are at the learning level. For their sports equipments they can take, for their personal effects they can take, any legal liability or personal accident risk, all those could be covered under the sports insurance. And when we talk of sports insurance, this cover is generally available only for few sports like angling, badminton, cricket, golf, lawn tennis, squash, and use of sporting guns. For all those only this type of sport insurance is available. Angling means is fishing with rod, you fishes it, rod and that line you fishes it, that you call it as angling. Next is Amartya Sen Shiksha Yojana. This is again a the general insurance company. They offer this type of security. The education department, through the education, this is particularly organized for providing education to the dependent children who are because if the breadwinner of the family dies within 12 months of taking the policy, because of the injury or the death of that person breadwinner, if the children are not able to pay meet out their expenses which is related to education or their regular livelihood, during such a situation, the insurance company, the general insurance company, comes in that place and provides the expenses which is needed to cover their various expenditures as well as their education expenditures. This type of insurance policy is mainly designed to see that education is not disrupted for the children who are dependent on their parents for their education, when there is no source of income, and if any accident occurs and the person is getting injury, if such injury is happening within 12 calendar months of the occurrence, it can be the direct cause of the death or it could be a permanent disablement of the breadwinner of the family, the insurer, that is the insurance company, will indemnify. Indemnifying means compensating the insured student in respect of all. They will cover all the expenses that has to be incurred, okay, from the date of occurrence of such accident. That is, from the date of accident till date, whatever has been, till the expiry of the policy, whatever is the expenditure that has to be covered to see that the dependent child is educated, those will be covered under this Amartya Sen Shiksha Yojana. And the policy amount and the premium will be stated according to the age of the person, and it is stated in the policy schedule itself. The next one is Rajeshwari Mahila Kalyan Bima Yojana. Under this policy, normally here some relief measure is provided to the family members of the insured. Particularly, this is applicable to women. In case of death or any disablement is happening because of accidents or because of any permanent disablement is arising, as a result of that, okay, if the female member is dying or becoming disabled, the dependents or the children should not be deprived of all the benefits. So this policy particularly covers the is applicable to women only. Now these are the other types of insurance which are classified under miscellaneous insurance. Next is there are certain terminologies which are used in insurance. Let us see those terminologies. First is nomination. See, according to section 39 of the Insurance Act of 1938, nomination means it is the process of appointing or nominating a person, or it could be persons also. One or more than one person could be nominated. By whom? By the insured. uh, why are they nominating? In the happening of any mishap, or if anything happens, the person who has been nominated or the persons who are being nominated by the insured should receive the amount which is being stated, or should receive the compensation with respect to the policy. Such as this person who is to receive the payment of the policy at the death of the insured or is called as nominee. Suppose if the policy is maturing at a certain time, at the expiry of a certain period of time, and the insured is live, in such a case the nomination will stand void. Since the insured is alive, the insured will receive the policy amount at the expiry of that particular period of time. Next is surrender value. See, the surrender value, it signifies the amount of premium which is paid that has to be returned to the policy holder at the time of surrendering of the policy. See, the surrendering can happen under two situations. Suppose if the policy holder is unable to pay the premiums after a stipulated period of time, and as per the terms and conditions which are being specified by the insurance company, and if they could not continue paying the premiums of the policy, then the policy could be surrendered. During that time, the insurance company, after making few deductions, returns of the paid up value of the of the insured. This you call it as surrender value, and this is again subject to the terms and conditions which are being applied, which applies for that particular policy. And there is another condition where if the amount that has been, or if the property that has been insured against is suppose if it happens to be a very huge value, then the insurance company can transfer or surrender a part or a percentage of the risk to another insurance company, which in such a situation also the value that has been specified for transferring of the risk to another insurance company, you call it a surrender value. Next is double insurance. Double insurance is if the same property has been, if the same subject matter can either be the life or it can be the property also. If one or more policy is being taken for the to cover the same subject matter, such an insurance you call it as double insurance. Now the terms which are used in insurance, what we saw is nomination, surrender value, and double insurance. The next is we shall learn about business risk. See, normally a business cannot be run without risk. Okay, business and risk are part and parcel. The more the risk you undertake, the more the benefit you could see. So business is full of uncertainties and unexpected events that are likely to happen, but business has to go on. So to cover these uncertainties means something which is likely to happen or not likely to happen also. It may happen or it may not happen also. So unexpected things might happen at any time. So insurance covers the various types of risk which the traders are facing in their regular business activities. So the term business risk, it refers to the possibility of inadequate profit. See, when any unexpected risk happens, the business people are unable to face up or to unable to meet out those expenses which happens all of a sudden. So to cover that, risk cannot be avoided. Risk is likely to happen only. You cannot avoid the risk, but you can avoid the damage which is being caused because of these risks. So now let us understand what are the nature of business risk. Characteristics of business risk. Normally business risk means it arises due to uncertainties. Uncertainty means what? something which we do not expect, we do not know that this is sure to happen. Okay, every time all the time business will not reap profits. There will be losses also. So the losses might be because of lack of knowledge about what is going to happen in the future, or the business risk might be because of any natural calamities, or because of the changes in the demand conditions, or it can be because of the changes in the price conditions, or it could be the changes in the government policies, change in the technology. All these could be stated as examples of uncertainty. So whenever there is uncertainty, definitely there is a risk also associated with the business. So this is a first type of feature. Next is risk means it is part and parcel of a business activity. It is an essential part of every business cannot be without any risk. So no business can avoid risk, but they can just minimize the risk. But risk cannot be totally eliminated. You can never eliminate risk from the business, but you can minimize the risk by taking various policies where they could mitigate the loss. Next is the degree of risk depends mainly upon the nature and size of the business. If the business is large size, the size of the business and the type of goods and services that are being produced also will decide the nature of the risk. See, for example, a businessman is dealing with fashionable items. Okay, it is on a large scale business. Whenever it is a large scale business, generally higher risk will be there. If it is a small scale business, the risk will be only to the smaller extent, because the amount of money invested is on a small level. So the risk also will be at a lower level only. When huge amount of money is being invested, the risk associated is also on the higher side only. Let us assume they are into a fashionable industry. All of a sudden we could see that fashions are subject to changes. People's taste and preference keeps on changing. As a result of that, huge amount of money which has been invested into that fashionable designing business sustains loss because of the changes in the taste and preferences of the people. This is also a type of risk, where the degree of risk, it varies from business to business according to the nature of the business and the size of the business. Next is profit is a reward for risk taking. See, as such, we know that businessmen, they undertake high risk because whichever project is high risk, definitely it is sure to reap high profits also. Okay, so greater the risk involved in the business, higher the chances of the profits. So the entrepreneur will be under the expectation that when we undertake huge risk, there will be definitely huge profit. So profit is nothing but it is a reward for risk taking. You might have learnt in economics. Okay, profit, by learning the topic of what is a profit. Profit is nothing but a reward which is being paid to the entrepreneur for the risk that he undertakes. Okay, it is being given by Hawley. Next is, what are the types of business risk? When we look into the different, so far what we saw is the nature of business risk. That is, business risk arises because of uncertainty. It is an essential part of every business. Degree of risk varies according to the nature and size of the business. The last one is profit is a reward for risk taking. The next type, next we shall see what are the types of business risk. First is speculative business. Speculation means you are ready to take up risk, never mind it is profitable or it might lead to loss. So there will be possibility of gain as well as possibility of loss also. Such risks are called as are because of the results of market conditions. If the market conditions favorable, it will result in profit. If the market conditions are unfavorable, it might result in loss also. See, the use of technology. The use of technology, what will happen? You'll be able to produce more goods and services. Though technology involves huge amount of investment, when technology is used in production process, it will result to large scale production. When large scale production is made in large scale, automatically you could produce at a cheaper price. When cheaper is you could produce at a lesser cost of production per unit of commodity. So the price per unit of commodity could be low. When the price is less, automatically demand will increase. When demand increases, it will lead to increase in the profits. So this is again a speculation only. Okay, so you anticipate there is possibility of gaining as well as possibility of losing also. Next type of risk is pure risk. Pure risk are Next is pure risk. Pure risk, it is a type of risk where the business will definitely suffer loss if such a thing happens. See, if this particular event might happen or might not happen also, but if that particular thing is happening, if that particular incident is happening, definitely it will lead to loss. This you call it as pure risk. What are such risks? Example, theft, fire accident. When fire, every time we cannot say that fire accident will occur, but if fire accident occurs, definitely it will lead to loss. This you call it as pure risk. Next is insurable risk. When we talk of business risk, definitely you have to categorize under risk under two types. One is insurable risk, the other is uninsurable risk. There are certain types of risk which could be insured against. The loss, when there is loss which is happening because of natural calamities, when there is loss happening because of physical loss, that is becoming disabled, or a loss during transit, okay, any theft during transit, or any loss because of accidents, all those are called as insurable risk, because the company, the insured can insure these commodities or this subject matter, so that in the happening of any such event, compensation could be received from the insurance company by the insured according to the amount of loss that has happened. Depending upon the extent of loss that has occurred, based on that, the insured will provide the compensation to the insured. This you call it as insurable risk. On the other hand, there are risks which are called as uninsurable risk. When the loss arising because of any unforeseen events, like if there is any political changes, or if there is because of the trade cycles, the ups and downs, depression, recession, okay, because of that, when there occurs any loss, such risk cannot be covered by the insurance company, which you call it as uninsurable risk. Suppose if there is any loss due to flood, cyclone, you cannot estimate that. Probably you cannot find out the amount of loss that has happened. So the government in such a situation, they will directly give compensation to the people who have been affected because of flood, earthquake and all, because you'll not be able to estimate the amount of loss which has happened. You might have seen during the tsunami or earthquake, the government coming there and giving lakhs and 2 lakh rupee or 3 lakh rupee, depending on the amount of loss that has happened. If one person has died in their family, 2 lakh compensation. If two people have died in the family, 4 lakh compensation. You might have seen that. So if any loss happens because of these reasons, where you are not able to estimate the amount of loss, in such a situation, the government will come forward and do the relief measures. Such type of risk, you call it as uninsurable risk. And this is also because you can otherwise call it as uncertainties also. The concept of risk here is different from uncertainty, because during uncertain events, decisions cannot be taken. Now, what are the reasons for risk, causes for the risk to happen? First thing is, why does risk happen? Risk happens because of natural reasons. Human beings have a little control over their, have very little control over the natural calamities. Can we control flood, earthquake and all? Definitely it is not possible. Can we control heavy rains, floods, famines? Certain things, it is not under the control of human beings. Such natural reasons which give rise to loss for life, property or income of the people, you call it as natural reasons or natural causes. Next is human causes. Human cause, it includes unexpected events. Suppose if a person is not honest, because of his dishonesty, the employer is sustaining loss. That is called as human risk. Next, because of the carelessness and negligence of the employee, a fire accident happens in the office, or because of the stoppages of the power supply and strike, riots, management is inefficient. Because of such reasons, loss occurs, means that loss, the reason for such loss comes under human loss, because these are the negligence of human beings that has led to the loss of it can be either property or life or income. Next is economic causes. These includes uncertainties that are related to the demand for the goods, supply of goods. Suppose if there arises too much of competition, when competition is there, because of competition, the market share of, if you are a businessman, all these years there was very less competition and you have been enjoying a good market share in the for your property, for your products. Sorry as a since seeing people enjoy good amount of market share or earning good amount of profit, definitely there will be entry of competitors into the business. As a result of that, what will happen? Your profit of market, your market share, the market share for your product will automatically less and your profit margin will come down. Such type of reasons you call it are categorized as economic causes. And when there is a change in the technology, because of that we are unable to adapt to the new technology, that is also called as economic risk. And any financial problems, you have borrowed money and you are unable to meet out, you are unable to pay the interest because of various other reasons, any financial money related problems where the government levies a huge amount of taxes, all those comes under unexpected cost of operation of the business. Next is, apart from that, what are the other reasons, other causes for business risk? Any unforeseen events happens, any political disturbance is there, when any mechanical failures are there, and the bursting of boilers, fluctuations in the market rate, in the share market, all those could be the reasons for possibility of risk causing in business. Now, we saw what are the causes of business risk, that is natural reasons, human causes, economic causes and other causes. Now, the last part of the lesson, the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. Now, we have been learning about what insurance, the different types of insurance, the causes of risk, the types of risk, everything we saw. Now, there should be a body which governs, statutory body which governs all these activities. Okay, what is that? Now, the IRDAI, the Expansionist Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India, it is a statutory body. Statutory body means a body which has been formed by passing of a statute. Okay, when a statute is being passed, statute means an act is passed. An act is passed exclusively to form the IRDA, to form a regulatory body. This regulatory body's work, it is an independent body. It is not governed by the government. It is not a government department. It neither comes under central government nor does state government. It is a separate individual body, and the apex body that governs, this only governs, it regulates, supervises the insurance industry in India. Actually, this body, it was constituted in the year 2000 by the Parliament of India Act, which is called as IRDAI Act. In the year 90, the act was passed in 1999, and this body, it came into it was constituted in the year 2000. The act was passed in 99 and this body was constituted in the year 2000, and the headquarters of this IRDAI is located at Hyderabad. And what is its organizational setup? How many members are there and who are the members? This IRDA, it consists of 10 members. The body consists of how many members? 10 members. One person will be the chairman. This chairman, he should be above this chairman will hold the office for 5 years, and maximum age for the chairperson for this chairman will be 60 years. It is still 60 years only he can be a member of, he can be a chairperson. The next is there is 5 whole time members. Okay, not 5 years, and maximum age will be 62. 5 whole time members will be there, and 4 part time members will be there, and these people will not be holding the office for more than 5 years. The chairman and the members of the IRDA, they are appointed by the Government of India. Only 4 points are there. One is what? There is one chairman, 5 whole-time members will be there, that is full-time members will be there, and 4 part-time members will be there. The chairman and all these members, that is totally 9-10 members are there. These members are appointed by whom? By the Government of India. And what is the aim of formation of this IRDAI? First thing is to protect the rights of the policyholders. We are taking policies based on the certain terms and conditions to protect the interests of these policyholders. The IRDAI is formed, and to promote and ensure the growth of insurance in the industry. Like how the banking industry is being regulated by RBI, the insurance industry is regulated by IRDAI, and to increase and to bring the awareness among the public about the insurance, the concept of insurance, the IRD. This is also one of the objective of IRDAI. Next is, whenever any settlement is being delayed because of any genuine reason, okay, when the settlement is being delayed, this IRDA helps in this speedy settlement of the claims, and it also prevents fraudulent and malpractices also, and it also tries to bring transparency and orderly conducting of the financial market dealing with the insurance. So there should be transparency in the regulation, in the functioning or the conducting of the financial markets by the insurance companies. Next is, there are certain duties and functions of IRDAI. First thing is, it issues a registration certificate to the companies, insurance companies, and it regulates them. Under the IRDA only, all the insurance companies are being affiliated to. So IRDA only gives the license or the certificate to run the insurance company. Next is the license to the insurance company, and for the intermediaries, that is agents, brokers, specifying their qualifications, their code of conduct and the norms, all these will be specified by the IRDA. And it also promotes and regulates professional organizations, that is the organizations which are related to insurance business, and to promote the efficiency and of the insurance sector, it promotes and regulates the professional organization. Next is, it supervises the premium rates, and it supervises the terms and conditions which are being levied by the insurance companies, and the coverage. Okay, for this much amount of coverage, this is the premium. So all these supervision is done by the IRD only. And not only that, it specifies the conditions and the manner according to which the insurance companies and other intermediaries should make their financial reports also. Next is, it regulates the investment of the policy holders, and just a second, children. Next thing is, it regulates the investment of the policyholders' funds. The premium amount which is being paid by the policyholders, it is being regulated by the insurance company, and the way that is being the funds are managed is being monitored by the IRDA, and it also ensures the maintenance of solvency of the that is, the insurance companies also should not run under loss. Okay, the company's ability to pay out the claims also is being decided by the IRDA. If any insurance company is unable to pay their claims, it also sees that the insurance companies maintain their solvency. With this, we are finishing today's class, and we have question answers for this, and the homework for you today will be, I want you to write very short answers. You have very short answers and short answer. Just a second. You have 2 very short answers and 3 short answers. I want you to write this as homework and submit to me. For a long time you have not been doing any homework. 100% I want all of you to write the homework and send to me. Okay, children? Thank you. Have a good day.